And this is one of those matchups where you look at the two different players and there are so many factors that kind of tell you where they're going to be. Grieco has been so calm all week. He's been joking around, laughing, having a great time. This is the first time I've seen him wear a little bit of nerves on his face.
Yeah, and Lucas on the other side of it, he feels like he's just kind of been dialed all week. You know, on the other side, you know, he's a guy that likes to joke around, he likes to trash talk, but he does seem like he's been very dialed in. You see a little bit of a grimace there as he goes Goblinstein to the right. Lava gets dropped at the exact same time, opposite lane. That's going to be a little bit more annoying to deal with right now than hopefully for the rest of this game.
Yeah, so now the big question is going to be, does he double down on this right-hand lane, which he appears to be doing with the Bomber, and maybe trying to figure out an alternate way of dealing with the aerial assault on the left-hand side, but they're pretty even in Elixir, but Grieco has so much more on the board at the moment.
Yeah, and he did a really good job with that flying machine, making sure he's playing it up to the other side, maybe giving a little bit too much poison value right here to Lucas. I would have loved to see him just kind of pump the brakes. He already had a lot of pressure with the lava plus the flying machine. I don't think he needed to push the issue there with the guards.
Yeah, I mean, that's so much damage, but it feels like it could have been a few hundred more.
Yes, exactly. Or it would maybe been just a hair less, but he'd have more Elixir. But he's dealing with his defense very well.
Evo'd Brawler making its way across the bridge as we pass the midway point of regulation time. So far, it's been almost all Grieco with that 17:08 mark on the left-hand side. And maybe a bit of a surprise here. We are in match number 2, and we are 2 for 2 on Lava Hound plays.
Yeah, I know. Fascinating about the Lava Hounds, you expect the Goblinsteins. The other thing that you really should be expecting a lot this weekend is that Goblin Cage. The Evo'd Cage is going to do a great job dealing with the P.E.K.K.A.s, dealing with Goblinsteins, dealing with a lot of the tanks that are most popular in the world. But we've seen this small shift over the last few weeks with Lava being a more and more prevalent.
And the list here of favorite card for Lucas being Skeletons, no surprise for the at one point top 2.6 Hog Cycle player in the world, back when that was still a fully viable deck.
Yeah, and I'm really curious to see what Lucas has as his very last card, like what building that may be. Maybe something, it could be something like a cannon, so that's why he's not playing it yet. You would assume if it was a Tesla or a Inferno, he might have already dealt with that. And Evo Bomber going to do a pretty good job here, cleaning up the Doctor behind.
Does he have any way of getting to it here? Log comes down, and oh wow.
And Lucas uses the ability, and this champion in the Gobstein is one of the most unforgiving when you use the ability. A lot of the other champions, you know, if the Archer Queen doesn't shoot or if the Skeleton King's ability doesn't go off, the Goblinstein is brutal when it comes to that. And you can see Lucas knows it's over. One mistake is all it takes, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, I mean, I think it all started with that cycled Goblinstein, and then immediately you had the lava go the. And now here's where the big questions are answered. Does Lucas have those nerves solved? How does he bounce back from that frustrating game number 1 where you know he's kicking himself a little bit?
Got to have memory of a goldfish. That's all it is. He cannot think about... What he needs to know is that had that ability instance not happened, he could have won that game. That's what I'd be telling myself if I was Lucas.
I'd be telling myself, you could have won that game. So some bait from Grieco here in game number 2. Arrows so far shown by Lucas.
Nice little pressure here, getting around. A lot of Elixir spent, now only 4 Elixir to deal with the MK, but he is a pro, so expect I was gonna say either a King Tower activation or just a one and done in a card.
And Goblinstein here to hold the ability. The Mega Knight getting away though for some significant damage.
Not the end of the world, but just a small mistake there. This will not activate King Tower, I don't believe, but a nice shot, nice attempt.
Does Grieco try to utilize the fact, and he's not going to do it, I thought maybe with a slight Elixir advantage plus the 3-card cycle, get some early damage here while still in single?
Yeah, and expect a Princess to come down again pretty soon. There she is.
Gotcha.
Minute 20 gone. And Lucas with the lead, but here is the first Evo barrel.
And goes to the wrong side, so the true Goblins get some good damage in. But either way, it's not the wrong side in this situation because Lucas doesn't want one tower to go lower than the other. So smart play by him. Tower's pretty even, but that over the long run, as we just saw in our first matchup, bait in dual lane, not a lot of fun to deal with.
A little pressure on the left-hand side with that Fisherman in the back. Ice Wiz to slow down and take care of business. Princess does not get the second shot.
I'm so happy to see more Dark Hawk. Goblin, been a fan for so long, and very much in the meta right now.
And the Electro Spirit plus Snowball, maybe a bit much there, but plenty of elixir for Grieco to just get in the mix.
Nice little bit of pressure here on the left-hand side. Probably going to pull out an MK.
And finally it comes down after a lot of damage.
Wow.
The ability keeps going, and that is a huge opening. Wow.
And this RG now completely unsupported, does get Skellies out to bait out that E-Spirit. Now it's about controlling this Mega Knight and that second Royal Giant. You can see Grieco, he's like, whoa, you got a little bit more elixir than I thought. Gonna maybe need to push with a cannon? And doesn't get the push, doesn't have the Doctor, and now he needs to take that left-hand tower. Lucas in firm control.
Can he reset here? Royal Giant goes again. King Tower activation, and this thing just switched on its head in a matter of seconds.
Lucas still behind by just a hair, but definitely feeling the momentum going his direction. 847 for Grieco, 756 for Lucas.
And it feels like a totally different game now with that King Tower activation, able to help him a whole lot on that defense. And you see just doubling down on the weak side is Lucas. And now he's maybe going to try to eat a little bit of that right-hand side, and the King Tower getting very involved.
And that ability also not what Grieco wanted there. Yes, and that's exactly it, man, is just let that King Tower do the work. Play the defense to just take just enough damage and get it so you can get back on offense. That's the rage.
There you go.
That's the game. And we're going to game number 3 once again.
And you see the pouty face from Grieco just going, come on, man. You got me.
You got me. Well played, well thought out there by Lucas. Great way to bounce back. It looked, I mean, for years, people have been begging. What do I get if I watch? What do I get if I watch? How do I get a badge? Well, event.supercell.com, get your predictions in, get those predictions right, and you will get that, well, unfortunately for us, the viewer badge of 2024. No finalist, no champion.
Yeah, that champion badge is the ultimate flex. And this is what I thought. I talked about it after game number 1. Lucas has liked running NATO. He pretty much always does it in one of his sets. And with what was open, you have to imagine he is very happy to get that NATO and the early activation.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, especially if he's running E-Giant NATO, because he's going up against Mighty Miner. A lot of times that's what we used to see Golden Knight paired with when we used to see Tornado. But a lot of things have changed since then. Not a lot of people are running E-Giant, and there's that Big Mama P.E.K.K.A.
I think I've seen him run a version of Drill with this before, which would be fascinating.
That's fun.
Drill Marcher, that would get pretty heavy.
The Golden Knight combo, that makes much more sense.
And Firecracker out.
And there's the Ram Rider behind. Freeze coming in, wow, and that's gonna go right to tower.
Whoa, whoa, bridge spam freeze out of Lucas. And Grieco is sitting there looking like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, what is this? And hoping Lucas doesn't get too fancy for his own good here. Grieco running something a lot more on meta, as that NATO does a great pull, and Grieco keeps up the pressure.
And is something in cycle. There you go, Golden Knight to pick up. Lucas, though, pretty much down to 0. That Golden Knight not going to be a big problem. Grieco will have to cover for the dash, but that's about it.
Should just be an Ice Spirit, I would think, up high, and there it is. And the other thing Lucas has to start thinking about, a little preemptive, a little premature right now, but that King Tower's health already down to 32, 34, only just a couple HP, a couple hundred HP over a healthy Princess Tower.
And here we go. Evo P.E.K.K.A. in the back. And Grieco takes a bit of a gulp.
And he's doing exactly what you have to do. A lot of lesser players or people you watch, streamers or whatever that aren't pros, you think, okay, maybe I need to put pressure in the opposite lane. Maybe, no. When you got the Evo P.E.K.K.A. coming up, you know she's coming. You just need to save your elixir and put it all down on the line to defend. There's the Marcher we're talking about. Great Ice Spirit to clean it all up.
And here we go. Uses the ability, gets out of the way of the Mama P.E.K.K.A. NATO brings it all in. The Golden Knight to clear. This is a huge problem for Grieco.
He misses the pull.
Mama P.E.K.K.A. gets the hit.
He misses the pull.
Mama P.E.K.K.A. gets another hit. Oh my word.
Oh, and the Ice Spirit with the dash. Lucas knows he just hit the nail in the coffin.
And waving the white flag, the Earthquake, Lucas with a roar, and he is going to round 2, where we will get a classic Clash Royale League matchup, Mohamed Light and Lucas, tomorrow here.
What a play. Every piece of that was predicted down to a T by Lucas. He takes the 3 crown, he takes the 3rd game, and he takes the set.
What a show! You see Allen just giving the big let's go! This is what you want from Lucas at World Finals.
I mean, just some very it did seem like at the end of the day the conversation was in favor of Elsiop, but we know that that doesn't matter. You want 80-20s versus Mohamed Light. And Lucas on the other side of it, you saw how well he pulled things together in that game 3 against Grieco with that Golden Knight freeze NATO at the very end. Just beautiful, beautiful stuff. And here we go. Momo comes out. Looks like they could both be running lava.
Yeah, I mean, we see Mohamed Light shake his head, or nod his head, and then stare directly into Lucas's eyes. It could be the case, both players. Skeleton Dragons, Gob Cage from Lucas, Gob Cage, and Lava from Mo. I can guarantee you Mo is running Lava.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a good call, AC, as it is on the board. And one thing I'm thinking about here is that the analysts maybe not looking for a mirror matchup in game number 1. I don't know if you're really ever looking for that type of thing, so we'll have to see how things play out here. 29-44, 27-15, first little bout in the books.
Yeah, Arrow's always a very important card in Lava mirror matches, so we're going to have to see what the final cards for Mohamed Light are. Lightning, Arrows, the spells for Lucas. Still unsure what Mohamed Light is running on his end.
And a bit of a pause here as Mo sets up the Evo cage. Lucas goes, all right, time for me to drop my first Lava Hound. I don't think we'll see 4 Lava Hounds on the board, and there you go, Lucas just going, wow, of all things that I had to run into, Lightning is out, Inferno Dragon is in, and this is going to be difficult to deal with as this game goes on.
Yeah, Mohamed Light clearly well-versed in this matchup. You want to play the Inferno Dragon as often as you can, going against the opposing Lava Hounds, and then just put your own Lava Hound in front. You're always going to be able to defend, and you're always going to get at least a little baby counter push, and we see it right here, but Lucas going to clean up everything nicely and still have a few things on the board.
Well, you see, we've got 2 kind of X-Factor cards. The Inferno, as you were just talking about in this matchup, and then the other one is the card on the board right now in the Flying Machine. Not a great way to get on top of that Flying Machine and support the Lava Hound in the way that you would like.
Yeah, I mean, you have to assume with double elixir, if you're going same lane, Lucas is always going to be able to win because you have the Flying Machine, the Lightning to snipe the opposing Inferno Dragon. I love how Mohamed Light is approaching this matchup, going opposite lane and then placing his own Inferno Dragon. Let's see if Lucas is going to be able to protect it. Not going to be the case, and that Inferno Dragon from Mohamed Light going to get a ton of value right here.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you're talking about there, AC. Baited out in the opposite lane. Now the push dies on the vine. 1960, 24-04. Bomber now set up on the right-hand side. Now going in the same lane are Lucas and Mohamed Light. We'll see if Lucas ends up letting this go. Lightning comes in. Mo thinks that's a good idea. Ish, I would say by the look on his face. Bomber here looking for some damage. Juicy, Josh getting a nice shot in.
Yeah, right there. Predictive Inferno Dragon. He places it a full second early in the exact wrong timing for Lucas. Still places the Lava Hound down on the board. Arrow's going to clean up everything very nicely. And, I mean, for the rest of this game, for the entire game, basically, it's just bridge lava after bridge lava, just opposite lanes from both of these players.
1862, 1960, just neck and neck here. Mohamed Light in a slight lead as he sets up Skeleton Dragons on the left-hand side.
Yeah, so it looks like the only difference between these 2 decks is Inferno Dragon and Flying Machine. And I mean, just looking at it on paper, you always are going to assume the Inferno Dragon is just going to be considerably way better in this matchup.
And you can see here now Lucas going to have to spend a lot defensively here. Also some guards at the bridge just a moment ago. Pressure guards that baited out Lucas's Evo Bomber, so not going to get any Evo Bomber damage from his opponent's Bomber or Cage or guards.
Yeah, right here, Lucas probably going to defensive Lightning, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Flying Machine taken out by Mohamed Light's Inferno Dragon, but Arrows on defense going to clean up everything nicely. Mo Light now taking the lead by 250 HP.
And using the lava to kite, Mo with a little bit of a smile there. That lava just a hair closer than I think it needed to be, though. It takes a lot more HP off. I think it was one more tile to the left, it still would have kited and maybe not taken as much damage.
Yeah, I really think that's going to be the case, too, and that is a great Lightning from Lucas. Going to take out the Inferno Dragon entirely. Lightning coming down on offense for Mohamed
But no
Light.
arrows for defense there, AC.
And is that Bomber going to squeeze out a shot? Not yet. But still, with only 30 seconds left, Lucas needs to start playing things at the bridge. Gonna go lava at the bridge, but on the right lane.
Yeah, Desperation Lava there. Flying Machines ends up protecting it, but Inferno's still on the board. Lightning to clean everything up, guards to pull it away. But the thing is, that Lava's not gonna be able to get enough damage in 13 seconds. Lucas knows it's over. Mo wins the mirror match with the Inferno.
8 seconds left. Lucas just going to activate the King Tower. Mo Light going up 1-0. And I can guarantee you that Mo, 5 seconds into the match, knew he won this game. I don't need to change anything.
We'll talk about it off broadcast.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a really uncomfortable conversation for us.
Mom.
Probably an uncomfortable conversation between these two guys after this match is over, regardless who ends up taking the next 2 games. As we see Momo go in with a minor. Lucas trying to catch with a high knight, ends up getting something out of it. So it looks like he might be going to exactly what we just called Magic Archer NATO.
Yeah, and right there, Lucas, the reason why the Spirit Goblins look so odd is because he was just cycling to that NATO. He was 1 card away. He had to place it high enough where the Spirit Goblins weren't going to try and take out the miner, instead allowing the King Tower to be activated. So it looked weird, but there was a very specific reason as to why he did it.
AC, being a former pro, when you look at this matchup, when you talk about probably not having a big spell for Lucas and this monk is a very interesting wrinkle in this equation because of your spears and your Magic Archer. Does this matchup can Lucas play through this? Is the monk going to be that much of an X factor, not being able to get on top of the Phoenix as well because you don't have any sort of large spell? You don't have a way to target it other than Magic Archer. How are you feeling about this?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's very close. I mean, really, if you play it perfectly, the reason why all these pros love these minor knight, Magic Archer decks is because you can win against anything. It doesn't matter what the matchup is. If you get them in the wrong cycle, if you cycle correctly, the Ice Spirit gets enough value, you can always win a matchup. But I mean, going against Muhammad Light with the Monk, you know he's always going to be 1 step ahead. You try and NATO the Monk where it goes back to your same side of the arena, so that way you can't have the Crown Tower aggro get on top of it. You know he's just already thinking that.
The NATO back! The NATO back. Knight comes down, gets on top of tower. Monk distracted by the bomb tower. 21-49, 25-65. Goes for the catch of the bridge. Lucas knows he got. Look, Momo may not like the damage he just took, but he doesn't forget that he's still a world champion.
Man, the love between these two players, it's so exciting to see firsthand. Yeah. I mean, Lucas just smiling immedially. It is with these top pro players, you know, you're gonna try and predict like 6 different times, and even if you only get 1, you know you won that.
Yeah, exactly, and I love to see it here. Magic Archer at the bridge, pulls back the Phoenix. Mo ready though with the Ice Spirit Skellies. I mean, this is absolutely brilliant gameplay from Mo. Problem is, AC, he's focusing so much at the bridge that Lucas is getting a ton of damage down low. So while it might look like brilliant defensive gameplay from Mo, Lucas is doing a really good job baiting things out.
Yeah, so far this Monk has not really been that much of a problem. Lucas, a tenth of a second too late. And that Magic Archer gets taken out, as well as the Spirit Gobs. Muhammad Light going to town on this tower.
Wow, and Lucas making a few misplays here, having to use cards that he does not want to defend. Ends up getting the Phoenix on tower, has to use the bomb tower defensively up high, can't get on top of the miner. 18-49, 17-39. Lucas still in the lead here in game number 2 with just under 2 minutes remaining.
Knight to protect. You can never allow the Evo E-Spirit or Ice Spirit to get on top of your tower. It's just going to be too much damage. And that's a Monk and a Phoenix on the left lane. That is just one of the scariest pushes you can have, even though it's supposed to be simple to defend.
Just NATO's back that Monk, making sure it doesn't cross the bridge, then gets the Knight up high. No Monk ability in. 1702, 1592. Another miner in here from Muhammad Light, going close to the King Tower. Spear Goblin not on top of the egg. Lucas has to spend more. We got 2 Phoenixes on the left-hand side of the board.
And then the Evo Skeletons on the right is going to put in a little bit of work, and that egg, is that going to be another hatch?
Wow.
Not the case. But Muhammad Light screams into the lead, up by 260 HP. Lucas going to need to start getting some offensive pushes, finally bringing it back just a little bit, but this is difficult for him to get damage.
You guys can see the bomb tower placements from Muhammad Light are fascinating. AC, he gets the lineup with the Phoenix though. 2 shots, 3 shots. Mo does not like that. 967. Lucas now screaming back into the lead.
Going in on offense with the miner. Muhammad Light always catching it with the Skellies. The bomb tower helping out as well.
He's not going to NATO here. No, he does. Romo now, Monk's still alive.
Cycling the Skellies early, Knight at the bridge on the right side. And I mean, Muhammad Light finally gonna take the lead once again, but there's so much going on.
NATO comes down, Miner on top of the tower on both sides. 851, 795, 802, 746, 744. Lucas back in the lead. Mo takes it back at 697. Pressure in. 13 seconds remain.
NATO offensively plus the log. Can he catch the Miner? He does. Can he block this Miner from getting 2 shots? No. The Miner gets shots on the tower.
Mo gets it. Mo gets it. 406. 481! The Pharaoh stays on top! Oh my good lord!
Ready for this? Well, we're gonna find out as he jumps in against Lucas, his countryman, for game number 1. Just got dead silent knowing how much is on the line. This is an elimination matchup, folks. One of these two will be done in the top 6 in just 10 to 15 minutes of gameplay.
Interesting, Pedro using the Cannoneer here. Cannoneer and Gobgang immediately makes me think he's using Mortar, and Lucas with Skellies and Gobgang makes me think he's using Bait. I don't know exactly about this matchup, but I want to say Lucas has a slight advantage because of the Cannoneer. It's very difficult to defend all these Spade cards with the Cannoneer, but also you only have one spell. You only have arrows.
And Cannon Cart doesn't get that last shot on its side. Lucas has to be a little careful, as we saw some funkiness yesterday. Does break down out of range, and a Princess connects on the right-hand side for 2.
So we have the Evo Bats, Evo Mortar version of the deck. Goblin Barrel coming in yet again. No arrows in cycle. Gang does clean up very well, though. And Lucas has a bit of a minuscule counter push to deal with. A Gang to support yet again.
Despite being known as a fairly good Mortar player, we didn't see any Mortar out of Pedro during his CRL monthly finals runs this year. Curious to see what he does in this spot.
Yeah, it's a good point. It might be a semi-difficult matchup for Pedro, but he is one of the best to ever do it with Mortar. So if there's anyone that can win it, it's definitely him. Evo Skellies plus Evo Goblin Barrel at the bridge, though. This is a force to be reckoned with. He defends really well left side, but Evo Goblin Barrel on the right connects yet again.
Almost past the first 2 minutes of gameplay. Double elixir flowing in 15 seconds. And Princess aggressive at the bridge on the left-hand lane.
Interesting decision by Pedro. He doesn't want to spend elixir defending this, so instead he goes Mortar so that whenever he does defend the Princess, he's also able to protect his Mortar at the same time.
And Mortar targets the Doctor. Arrows behind to clear. Doctor will get taken off the board as the cannon goes to support.
Yeah, and I don't think that's what Pedro wanted to happen. I think he wanted a little bit more damage. He's just down so much. Both of his towers under 1800 HP, and he's barely scratched at the surface of Lucas.
Princess right-hand side for Lucas. 30 seconds left in regulation time. And the Evo Bats push on the right-hand side.
Ooh, the Mortar snipes the Princess. One bag gets a little bit of damage, but it's really just not enough. These Mortars really are having a difficult time of connecting.
Cannon Cart working its way up the left-hand lane. And we see Arrows looking to clear one more time. Barrel goes to the right, Arrows do clear. Ice Spirit plus Evo Skelly's left-hand lane. Bomber trying to stop it, but not enough to break through here.
Yeah, those Evo Skellies are so important to take note of. If your Arrows is not in cycle and those Skellies start making their way towards your tower, it can get very dicey very quick when you're using Cannoneer.
Keep in mind, folks, it's one spell versus no spell. Yes, they both can get on tower, and yes, Goblin Barrel's a spell. Stop telling me that. But it's not. You know it's not.
Yeah, I agree. That's got to be one of my biggest pet peeves. We're talking no direct damage spells here, but because of that, Lucas actually has even more spam, which is a huge advantage versus the Cannoneer yet again.
Should see an ability. Yep, there it goes. Miner goes to the back of the tower. Pedro has a lot of ground to make up. He really needs to hope for either a Cannon Cart breakthrough or a Mortar connection, because at the moment, Miner chip plus Arrows is not going to get it done.
That's dropping down on defense. Here's the Evo Skelly split push to try to apply pressure. Goblin Barrel yet again as well. Arrow's left-hand side,
boy.
that's not the right decision.
Boy.
Goblin Barrel connects.
Oh, my.
Evo Skellies are swarming. Lucas taking game number 1.
And Lucas pumped up there after taking a key game number 1. A big guessing game here for Pedro. Keep in mind, only the one spell the arrows played on Pedro's side, so Lucas doesn't have a ton of information. But of course, we have now seen how deep you can go into this deck pool and still have difficulty trying to pick it. Pedro goes Ice Spirit to open into the Electro.
And here's the Raymart as well. Lucas with some sort of Raymart deck. It could be Mega Knight, it could be P.E.K.K.A, or even Recruits as we've seen today.
We've seen a lot of Ice Wiz this weekend so far. I think far more than many would anticipate. What do you attribute that to, Juicy?
Yeah, it really comes down to that small splash radius buff it got just a month or two ago. You know, I really didn't think it would be that big of a difference maker, but that splash radius makes its splash radius actually larger than even the Baby Dragon. So that solid splash plus how cheap it is makes it a very solid card.
And seeing the work on the left-hand side, Lucas puts some pressure on the right. Firecracker will get some crosswise chip damage to open up that lead a bit more. 24-56 on the right-hand lane with the first minute of play having passed.
Yeah, and you can see Lucas shake his head just a little bit there. He's really not happy about this King Tower activation. Usually you use Firecracker in decks where a King Tower activation might not matter too much, but when you're playing with a Mega Knight in a Ram Rider beatdown-esque push, you need to break through, and that King Tower makes it just a little bit more difficult.
Inferno Dragon coming up against the Monk, and the Monk can get Reflection here, but it's not worth much as that Inferno Dragon will not be affected, so he opts to hold. That's twice now. 2 Monks played, no ability used yet.
Yeah, that's a nice call out. I saw the Monk, I was like, wow, this is gonna be solid for the Firecracker deflection for dealing with the Mega Knight. But then of course, Lucas always prepared in these matchups with an Inferno Dragon, and it just seems a little bit difficult for Lucas to break through. He is up in the damage for now though.
And this time he will activate the ability to take that Evo Firecracker off the board and get the sizzle going the opposite direction. Inferno plus Lightning. And you see Pedro just getting ready with those guards for the push.
Fisherman's down. It will not get distracted by the Electro Spirit. I like what you're saying here. I thought it was going to connect too, but the Ice Wizard, once again, showing its prowess, slowing it down, making it work.
And for a moment, you really thought that that was Lucas trying to get against the Fisherman high. Of course, quite famously back in the CRL teams days, it was Lucas caught trying to use a Fisherman to pull a Hog Rider against the God RF. Goblins at the bridge made the connection happen. He was trying to repeat that in his favor. Ram Rider will connect. Evo Mega Knight's going to work. Firecracker coming in, trying to get the connection, does not quite touch either way. Dual lane damage for Lucas as we go into sudden death.
And Pedro is finally trying to make an offensive attack work. Evo Roll Giant at the bridge with the Monk tanking. That's one shot. Do we see 2? Yes, we see 2. Wait, the Fisherman's pulling as well.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my gosh, so much damage.
That is insane. It gets one more. 469. Ram Rider does connect. And oh, my word, we have a fight on our hands, Juice.
Ice Wizard is counter pushing. I mean, Lucas, if he's going to win this, he needs to get one good push going, but he reveals the Fireball. One more Fireball log and this game's over.
And now can this Ram Rider get through in time? The Fireball's there. GG, well played. Game number 3 on its way.
Oh my gosh, Rich. Every single game today is going down to the wire, it feels like. I love these 1-in-1 best of 3s.
This is the kind of place where you think of Lucas going cycle, given the spells he has available. But a lot of the support cards, the cycle cards, not there for him. Of course, we went through an era where Goblins was the major cycle card, but that was before Evo Skelly and a Heal Spirit?
Heal Spirit, I mean, maybe, you know, with E Spirit and Ice Spirit out, he's trying to give his deck a little bit of an extra amount or less elixir added to it. Flying Machine Heal Spirit, it makes me think of some sort of Fireball bait deck.
Log was open, and there it is. Tesla being played by Pedro. Not the Evo version, which is interesting.
Fisherman as well. I mean, this could be Recruits Pigs. It could be something else. After seeing the Zappies, though, this looks like a pretty old school Recruits Piggies deck.
With Fireball out, that Flying Machine's going to be annoying for Pedro to deal with. Obviously, the poison does help to a certain degree, but we'll see how much Lucas can abuse that Flying Machine today.
Yeah, and I think it has a lot of potential, too. With the poison kind of bait going on here, the Flying Machine is going to be that X factor to break through. On the other hand, we have Pedro just running with one of his most solid decks, one of the best decks, the deck that really pushed him forward towards the runner-up last year, good old Miner Poison.
And the Tesla will be key in some of these defenses.
Yeah, and I look at the decks. We actually saw Pedro use Miner in game 1, so maybe a Drill Poison. I mean, I don't see another option for win condition that could work here.
Goes to cover on the right. 6-man splits, 3-3.
And here's the Mega Knight. Mega Knight going to be super useful versus the Recruits as well. I mean, looking at this matchup, I feel like Pedro's got a very nice advantage. It's all just going to depend if he can really put it together. We saw him play Miner Poison yesterday and struggle to break through.
So far, the Poison Chip on the right-hand side doing a good job. 25-76, the mark for Lucas's tower on your top right. Now here come Evo Recruits way out in front. What does Lucas have in store behind this? Royal Giant to the right-hand lane.
Wow, now Recruits Pigs, Recruits Royal Giant. Tesla dropping down yet again with the Barbarian. Going to deal quite nicely. I mean, that Mega Knight, though, I feel like that Mega Knight, especially the Evo, will be really good at knocking that Evo Royal Giant backwards.
And the Heal Spirit, such an interesting choice. We've seen people really try to go outside of expectations. How do you feel about that Heal Spirit call, though?
I actually love the Heal Spirit call. It synergizes really well with Royal Giant specifically because you can almost always guarantee the Heal Spirit to jump because of how close the Evo Royal Giant is to the bridge.
And the Poison working more. Flying Machine to get the, and there's just what you talked about, the Mega Knight knocking that Evo RG all the way back across the bridge.
And this Tesla's getting, sorry, not the Tesla, but the Flying Machine, once again getting so much value. Even if you have Poison for it, it's not instantaneous, and he misses the pull on the Ghost, though. The Ghost getting even more damage, and I just don't know how Lucas breaks through right now.
Royal Giant with the Evo Recruits. Does fireball the Tesla here. Snowball to hold. RG should get a couple of shots here, and these are critical shots at this stage.
Yeah, as soon as I say I don't know how it's possible, he makes it happen right away. Fireball on the Tesla, the Heal Spirit we've been talking about. Heal Spirit might end up winning him this match.
Well, the way he can completely flood the board, on the one hand, lots of poison value available for Pedro, lots of Mega Knight drop value available for Pedro, but that also means there's a lot to cover, and this has been, so far, the story.
Yeah, the other thing that means is he can't use poison on offense, and especially with the Goblin Drill, that is going to make things difficult, whereas on offense for Lucas, he can use that Fireball on tower in a variety of situations.
And you see how much cover was given to that Flying Machine. Now there's the poison value. Evo Mega Knight nowhere near that Royal Giant, so Drill has to come out on defense. Log to clear, Tesla to hold, and this will be a defense that holds on, but with 30 seconds left, you cannot just hold on, you have to do damage, and there comes the poison on the Recruits.
He does get a poison on offense. Can he defend? He sends the Evo Drill on offense too. He doesn't have that much elixir for the Royal Giant. Ghost dropping, Tesla dropping. Drill is defended. Will the RG get a hit?
Snowball in, RG gets nothing. Fireball down, poison ticking. Lucas needs a log. 2, 1, and Lucas takes it! 11:07 to 10:10, and his World Championship hopes continue.
I cannot believe what I just watched. I thought there was no way for Lucas to get damage through the Mega Knight, through the poison, through the...
60. And does that feel right? Kind of like a 2-to-1 situation between the two of those players?
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense, but it's really just going to come down to this matchup. It looks like, as you mentioned, bait being super popular, Lucas deciding to do it right away. We talked to Lucas, Andrew and I, before the tournament, and he did say that he wants to play bait to try and force out mistakes from his opponent. And it makes sense. I mean, there's a lot of nerves on this stage. You have to defend each Goblin Barrel and each Dark Goblin, each Princess perfectly if you want to win. But look at Sub's deck, Josh.
Yeah, Sub going to be running the Royal Hogs, quick cycle. And yeah, I mean, the delivery plus the log plus, I mean, it's probably going to be Skelly's and Ice Spirit. He's going to be able to stop these barrels very quickly. But I mean, bait, once you have that Goblin Stein up on the board, the 3-card cycle, you can out-cycle the log plus the delivery. They have all these cheap cards, and you will still get barrels on the towers.
Yeah, that's a good point. If there is any deck that's going to be extremely successful, it's this Pig's deck right here with the log and the delivery. But you can see Sub shaking his head already. Maybe Lucas is right. Maybe this deck, the nerves, are going to make the big difference here. Already taking quite a few Goblin Barrel hits.
And right there, defending with the Goblin Gang as well. Earthquake on top of it, and the tower as well, getting it down to 27-74. Slight lead for Lucas so far. Skelly's to help out and start to chain quickly. But Sub going to respond very well. But it does look like a little bit of trickle damage coming in from the Doctor.
Princess on the board. You can see Lucas down a little bit of Elixir, but it's not set in stone here because Sub has to respond to this Princess somehow. He goes for the delivery. Now everything's even up pretty similarly. I mean, I just don't know how Lucas wins this, though. I mean, I'm just trying to think of a way. Without that rocket, it seems very difficult.
It does seem difficult, but we always see with these cannons plus Ice Spirit or cannons plus Skellies, you can get those pro plays where they try and get the Royal Hogs plus the Earthquake on top of everything, but then you push it right there. Not going to push, but just going to defend with the Doctor plus Skellies, taking 500 damage, but overall, pretty clean defense, I would say.
Delivery dropping down, cleaning up the Goblin Barrel. Queen and Goblin Stein still on the board, but the Goblin Stein goes down. That means Sub has 3-card cycle. He goes to the log to try and cycle back the log quickly, but Evil Barrel coming in, getting solid damage, and the Queen gets taken out as well.
And right here, we finally see the Evo Skellies against Evo Skellies, both of them just gonna kind of, I mean, really, it's a neutral situation right there. And Sub, I really like what he was trying to do, trying to go the delivery on top of the Princess. Lucas, too smart for that, knocking a Princess at the bridge once again. I mean, until now,
yeah.
He knows Lucas loves these bridge princesses.
Log should be back in cycle for this barrel. And once again, the Queen is going to survive here. Sub is definitely going to go for some piggies soon to make use of that 3-card cycle. Maybe a pre-Earthquake on the cannon as well. There's the pre-Earthquake, but Lucas knows that the pre-Earthquake is coming. He predicts the prediction, if you will, and stop the pigs. But look at the Queen left side.
Archer Queen getting shot after shot, getting the tower down to 20-36. Both towers for Lucas taking a beating, but I mean, it's still a very close game. Dark Goblin outside of the range of the Crown Tower, so going to be able to take out the cannon entirely. And Archer Queen at the bridge, I mean, this is going to put in a ton of work right here.
Delivery on one side, log on the other. Evo Skellies get taken out immediately, and the Goblin Sign ability is doing massive damage for Lucas.
Right there, completely flipping the energy of the arena, getting the tower down to 1502. Ice Spirit plus Earthquake. And I mean, Sub is recognizing my opponent has no spell, has no big spell whatsoever. If I defend cleanly, I should be able to win. It's just going to be whether or not Lucas is going to force out errors from his opponent.
This is fascinating. Full defense, no pigs at all. Can he have the perfect defense? That is the question. Will he be able to stop the bait spam? Evo Goblin Barrel inbound. Skelly's one side, log the other. Decent damage defense.
And right there, Princess plus Dark Goblin. Dark Goblin does stay alive, not hit by the Royal Delivery. Log on defense from Sub. Any of the Goblin Gang picked up. 2 of the Spirit Goblins still alive. Princess at the bridge. 14 seconds left. Lucas needs to figure out something quickly.
Dark Goblin at the bridge. Goblin Barrel's here. Log
look at the Dark Goblin.
The Dark Goblin versus Earthquake.
11-28, 12-12. The Dark Goblin did it! Earthquake coming in!
Oh!
Left in! Lucas gets it!
Earthquake down at the last second. And Lucas winning by 30 HP. Oh my gosh, he's done it.
It's all.
And Sub in the third situation. This is the third time now that he has lost the first game of a best of 3. The question is, can he do it again? Can he reverse sweep and get a couple more wins to secure himself a continuation in this World Finals?
Lucas cycling the zap, plus the minor sub going with the Skeleton Dragons so far throughout this tournament. As soon as you see the Skeleton Dragons, as soon as you see the cage, you figure it's probably going to be Lava. Lucas on the other side. I mean, is it Loon? We see a chuckle, we see a smile. Is this exactly what Lucas was hoping for?
I think it might be. It looks like he's playing.
Is he pumped?
I think he's playing Pompeo Balloon. I saw him on his Royale API. He likes to use it. And he has the Inferno Dragon for the Lava Hound. That's why Lucas is smiling here. This is a Pompeo Loon versus a Lava Balloon, I believe. This is a very fascinating matchup.
Pompeo in the crowd. Let's see if you can make him proud. Gob Cage on defense for Sub, going to be able to easily kite the balloon. But because of the left tower targeting that Inferno Dragon for even just a second, that's going to apply a bunch of pressure, and arrows forced out from Sub.
Ice Golem with the bridge in front of the Mega Minion just to tank a little bit, try and force out some sort of response. Miner's well to tank for the Mega Minion, just a little bit of a push, but it does require a hefty response. I like how Lucas just took advantage of this opportunity because he knows that Lava is not built for those cheap defenses, forcing out lots of elixir from Sub and getting good damage.
Yeah, I mean, Ice Golem basically becomes that kind of like third win condition because you're always forcing out either the bomber or the guards. Otherwise, it's going to chip away at the tower, get 400 HP worth of damage. And Lucas's defenses are always going to be relatively easy. The Inferno Dragon is going to clean up the lavas. It's just whether or not he can defend before Sub gets those lightnings out. And no, it's going to be Fireball. And that's a value Fireball catching the Mega Minion.
A really good Fireball and not the best zap from Lucas there, dropping on almost nothing. I think he was trying to time it to zap all the lava pups, but he was not expecting that Fireball to reset his Inferno Dragon, and it just changed up everything.
And right there, Lucas probably going to set himself up with the Ice Golem in front. No Ice Golem Miner in the back. Hopefully, instead, just going in with the Fireball. Evo Zap going to come down, but didn't catch the Bomber on the first electrocution, so that Bomber stays alive.
This balloon, the balloon will not connect. Arrows do come down, but it does get death damage. And sometimes that's what Pompeo Balloon is all about. Sometimes you're just continually cycling those balloons, getting that death damage, and resetting for the defense.
Cycling the Inferno Dragon, you want them on the board. It's not always just Inferno Dragon on top of the lava. You're just trying to get as many of them up as you can. Sub responding with his own Inferno Dragon right there, guards to protect it, and the Inferno Dragon for Sub locks onto the balloon, so far it's a good defense, but he still needs more.
Yeah, and this is what I mean. Lava Hound is not built for these defenses. A lot of the time, you want to go for a dual lane or opposite lane pressure and tower trade, but that's not something that is an opportunity in overtime.
Yeah, and Sub making mistakes after mistakes. Lucas already clapping his hands. He thinks this game is over. The Miner takes out the Bomber entirely. Good game coming out from Sub. Lucas with the 2-0.
Oh my gosh. Lucas winning an impossible matchup. Game 1. Back to your question once again. I think that Riley, he played okay, but just the skeletons getting onto the Evo Knight and just a couple unfortunate interactions at the beginning, it seemed like Riley really got in a spot where he had no way to attack.
Now, was that Skeleton's interaction because the NATO was too soon, too late, or just an odd interaction?
Me and Rich were actually talking about it. It happens when you're pulling skeletons away from something, or it kind of happens when you're pulling skeletons towards your unit, right? So he was turning those skeletons towards his knight rather than away, and it made it so that they were able to kind of survive.
Oh, it's almost like they pulled him to attack while they were spawning, while they were getting taken off the board. And here we go, Lucas going to bait against Riley, who is running Lava Hounds. So, maybe he saw something that Mohamed Light did that he liked in terms of creating that deck or that matchup.
And I did also talk to Alan about what he thought both of his players might use in this moment. And Lucas does play bait, and Riley might have predicted it with this Lava Hound Arrows matchup.
And that is a huge, huge connection there. You can see Lucas already a bit stunned from it. 22-12 to 12-03. Riley drawing blood first.
Yeah, I mean, this is really interesting. I also talked a lot with Riley and Mo about, workshopping a lava deck that can counter bait because of how important it is in this World Finals. And maybe he's found it. He has the Evo Bomber as well as the arrows for solid defense, cheap defense, and offense at the same time.
Now, do you think the Lightning will be able to find its way into this equation more than what we just saw in the very beginning?
It's a good point. I don't know what Lucas' last card is. If it is Goblinstein, I think that Lightning will be imperative for breaking through. But I really don't know what this last card is.
Great damage there from the Goblin Barrel on that right-hand side, protecting this Dark Goblin to go down the left.
Okay, Dark Goblin getting taken out. Evo Cage does decent. Similar thing as we've seen with Lava before. He needs cheap defense or just no defense at all. He needs to get a Lava and needs to maybe even get a tower trade going here if Riley's going to win this.
Yeah, really nice, I'd say cheap defense there, like you said, Juicy. Still getting some offense in on the other side, 16-44. Now predicts the guards, but one guard still stays alive, takes the Princess off the board.
And look at that Evo Bomber.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Evo Bomber cleans up the barrel. Now it's cleaning up the Valkyrie. That's only 2 elixir. And now he can spend everything else on offense with the arrows for the Dark Goblin.
Val does get a shot on tower, but this is exactly what we were talking about yesterday. I think maybe it was Elsiop who was just not getting enough value out of his Evo Bomber in this matchup. You need that Evo Bomber to be able to clean up barrels. You can't only use your arrows and your guards.
And Riley's just stacking on the pressure. Lava,
That's
Silly
it.
Dragons, Flying Machine, Lightning. This tower is down.
And now you talk about that reset of confidence. Riley bouncing back, knowing he's still got it. Got to feel good there. And then Lucas on the other side of it now, facing elimination once again. The air of being someone competing on a stage for a massive amount of cash. What on earth would be going through your mind at this moment?
Hopefully, I'm gonna win, I'm gonna win, I'm gonna win.
That's what you like to hear. Yesterday, Lucas was telling me that his mantra to himself is, I'm not nervous, they're nervous. I'm not nervous, they're nervous. And right now, Lucas playing pretty well, but Riley on top of it. And of course, now we see Riley bringing out bait. I thought he might, and that's the scary thing, right? Is even if you know it's coming, he's not scared of running it.
Yeah, the question is, does Lucas have the facilities to deal with this super high pressure bait that we've seen succeed time and time again? I don't know. I don't know if he has the log or the Barbarian Barrel or maybe an extra spell to deal with this Dargob Princess combo. That's really what you're gonna need.
And a Prince in the back, Juicy.
Oh, and the Mega Knight. He did not defend the Goblin Barrel, and he's going all in with the push. I like this play. Will it pan out, or will Riley be able to defend? He's very low in elixir.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh, Mega Knight on the tower. Knight there to take, Prince there to take care of the Valkyrie. Royal Ghost opposite lane. Damage in on the left, damage in on the right. Lucas taking control.
Game cleaning up. We have a curse
There's
plus
the
arrows.
first. And he goes, all right, well, one day this curse is gonna work out for somebody.
Wow. I mean, I love Lucas' deck, though. This is great. You have the arrows for the Princess, the Dark Gob. Very similar to last matchup, actually. And then, of course, the curse is going to be very good versus Gang as well. And that Mega Knight will apply so much pressure in front of the Prince.
So, Juicy, this is your stream. You're 20 seconds away from double time, or overtime, double elixir. Wow, I've done this for 7 years. What is your thought on this matchup?
Yeah, I got to give it to Lucas with the arrows, with the Mega Knight, with that curse. But we know Riley is the best log bait player in the world. If there's anyone that can make it happen, it's him.
So Riley going to have to do some innovation here as Lucas goes to take out that Princess. AQ on the opposite lane does still have her charge. Takes out the Goblin Gang here and sets up an Evo MK in the back as this Archer Queen should be completely defended.
Queen rolling through to try to set up some defense and have some DPS for this Evo Mega Knight. I think Riley also has Evo Valkyrie in cycle, but this Evo Mega Knight is a force to be reckoned with either way.
And again, Lucas going with a very, very cheap, call it a defense if you want, takes a bunch of damage, 16, 12, 18, 88, as this push on Riley's side of the board dies on the vine. 979 though, Riley's lowest tower.
The pre-curse, expecting a Gob Gang.
Wow.
He catches some goblins. I think that forces a response. E-Spirit does get it.
And AQ does get a shot in. Very nice predicted play there by Lucas as he goes Miner to the Princess once again.
Wait, he's shaking his head to Miner.
Yep, I knew it. Guys, get the King Tower
gosh.
activation. And he needed to go one tile to the right there.
And there's the barrel yet again. Riley down damage, but in a decent situation.
Yeah.
Can he bring it back without a big spell?
And that King Tower activation is going to be so helpful against the MK and the Prince as they come across the board. Oh! And you can see Riley shocked by that interaction. Juicy's got his hands on his head.
Yeah, I mean, he just played the Archer Queen ability just slightly too early, and that is going to change everything. Now Lucas immediately having the opportunity to attack.
And you can see Lucas has no fear in going Miner on top of these princesses because he's ready for him to drop a gang on top of it and get more value out of it. So one of Riley's best units has been completely handicapped by Lucas's Goblin Curse. And yes, you heard that right.
Yeah, I mean, I talk about this when I play Mega Draft a lot. Sometimes a card doesn't need to be played to get value. Sometimes it only needs to prevent your opponent from playing the card they need to defend.
That's brilliant, the scare factor of the card being there, and that is why Lucas has been, like I said, very, very willing to get on top of those princesses with the Miner. Obviously wishes he didn't activate King Tower, but not the end of the world.
Ice Spear dropping down defense versus the barrel. These barrels are consistent damage right now. It might be possible for the comeback as we head into triple.
Royal Ghost on the right-hand tower. Miner on the left. Royal Ghost gets another shot in. Royal Ghost plus AQ to clean. 460 and 364.
The Prince!
The Prince!
Whoa! Gang coming down barely in time. We have 43 seconds left on the clock, and here's a huge push right side.
And it feels like we're going to game 3, Juice. I have no idea how Riley's going to do this, but he could. There's the Miner in with the curse and the arrows.
Gang on defense. A curse on offense yet again with 3-card cycle. Miner, arrows, curse. He calls the game. Lucas taking game number 2.
We are going to game number 3. Lucas and Riley.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I love this. This is why I love this job, Andrew. This is crazy.
And the Goblin Curse finally pays off on the final day of what could be the final game for Lucas. And he's
good luck from Lucas. Riley's locked in. Ice Spirit at the bridge. Bats to defend. So Evo Ice Spirit and Evo Bats. I mean, seeing Bats from Lucas makes me think it's a Mortar type of deck. And Riley with Ice Spirit and Goblins. Oh, wait, no. Is Lucas playing Lumber Loot right now? That is truly wild.
Yeah, you see that Lumberjack come out with the Evo Bats. There's the Heal Spirit, and Juice, that is the second time we've seen Lucas rock the Heal Spirit, and the first time was with great success.
Yeah, we'll see if he can replicate that as we start to see a little bit more of his deck. Riley with a little bit of a more standard deck. I still am guessing at what kind of win conditions we're going to see here.
I know. I mean, Riley looking like he has pieces of what could be a Mortar deck, but obviously we're at World Finals. We've seen a lot of different things here throughout the weekend. And then, yeah, Lucas with the Lumberjack, and there's the Mortar from Riley. And I mean, could it be Lumberjack with RG? I mean, you saw how well RG was, yesterday, and there it is. RG comes down.
Yeah, absolutely. Great call. Great call. RG Lumberjack with Heal Spirit. This is an old school RG breakthrough type of deck. You got the Lumberjack tanking, dropping a Rage, speeding up the RG damage, and you have the Heal Spirit healing it up, and it's already working great for Lucas.
Yeah, great damage there for Lucas, 21-15, and maybe Riley expecting the Bats with the immediate drop of the Goblinstein up front. Goblinstein will get to tower, so you could see him wanting to use an ability. Bit of a flinch there from Riley.
Yeah, I think Riley was trying to predict that Lumberjack with the Miner and basically keep his cannon card alive to get a really good start already. If it worked out, it would have been great, but not going to work this time.
Yeah, Lucas trying really hard to get that King Tower activation. Doesn't get it either, though. Takes a good amount of damage. 21-53 for Lucas, 21-15 for Riley as the second RG comes down. That's the evolved one. That's how it works.
Yeah, Riley does have defense for the RG this time with the Mortar, with the cannon card. Fisherman distracted too, not able to pull the cannon card right away. What will Riley do in this counter push? We do see the Gobstein tanking. The Gobstein ability will pop, clean up the Evo Bats. Very successful. Can he get to the tower though?
And Lumberjack does just enough as a high fish boy comes out. There's the Doctor down low to stun that Miner. Bats in cycle once again.
And we see a defensive Mortar played one tile up, preventing any fireball value on weak side tower. This is a very slow match compared to what we've seen today, but I love it. It's very methodical. Never mind.
And there it is, Juicy. Thank you for saying that, because you know that Caster Curse is working in our favor right now. This Lumberjack's going to go down all the way back around to a Mortar, though, is Riley. And that also means that Lucas is very close. Oh, a great predictive log on the Goblins. And I believe Lucas is just one card away from an Evo RG.
And you guys watching right now might think, oh, why pre-log on the strong side tower? But it's very important in this kind of matchup. Lucas needs multiple RGs. He needs that dueling pressure. So any damage on either side matters a lot.
The Evo Ice Spirit actually takes out the Lumberjack, so the Evo RG is able to get raged up. Cannon goes down, but it does bait out the Lumberjack just because Lucas wanted to be safe.
Roll Giant, one more shot left side. But we see Riley in overall damage lead just by focusing on this right-hand side tower.
Only 90 seconds remain in one of their World Finals run here in 2024. One game in, one game up for both.
Oh my God!
Oh, the perfect timing there. Lucas by a hair.
I really thought that cannon card was locking on, but Lucas with the reaction time speed of a lion. Goblin's counterpunching, he doesn't have to worry about it. King Tower's activated.
This damage from the one Goblin. No, excuse me, King Tower activated. I've played this game before. 2380, 1976. Lowest tower for Lucas, 1801. Lowest for Riley, 1769. After the Fireball log comes in to 1711.
I don't know how I feel about these defensive Evo Mortar. Look, another Fireball dropping down and help clean up.
He's cycling like crazy.
Yeah.
50 seconds remaining. There has not been one offensive Evo Mortar that I can think of.
Yeah, and now we have a bridge battle. We have the Goblin Monster, the Mortar, the Cannon cards, the Goblin ability. It reaches tower. That's good damage. This game is so close.
1500, 1504. Lucas in the lead. Evo Bats come down. That's good value there for Riley. But one bat does stay alive. Ability comes in. Opposite lane pressure here from Lucas.
Miner on the right, Lumberjack, Evo Roll Giant with Goblin Sign on left. Ice Spear does connect. That will slow down the RG. Does he have a Mortar? He doesn't care to defend. He's worried about the right side.
Fireball log from both. 1195, 1239. I think Riley's going to win the spell cycle race. We need one more Fireball. Riley's got it. Riley's got it. That's going to do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Riley taking the most important best of three we've seen today.
102 HP, separating second and third place in a